Okay, start over. Sorry everyone, I'm a bit late. I started actually on the other page of connections, so hopefully I am on the right page now. So, um, I just have my rice here, it's being cooked, and just quickly go over what I just went through before. My apologies. Alright, so here's the tofu, which is the main ingredient, the main star of the dish. And as I said before, try to use really firm, so really try to get firm tofu, just because we really want them to hold their shape while we're cooking them. And I already went ahead and fry them up in cubes. So this is really what you would want to do beforehand. I did that just to save us some time. Hi Natalie, thank you for coming. Next up, 1 green sweet peppers, chopped into maybe around half a finger length. Again, any colors will do. 4 big white mushrooms, and of course you can always tone it up or down depending on how much you like mushroom. But again, it's very good in a curry because it has a lot of minerals, vitamins, and fibers in it. 1 for aromatics, we will use 1 onion here, be all diced up. I minced up 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. I'm a big garlic fan, but of course, depending on your taste, you can tone that up or down as well. Because this is a Thai curry that I'm making, I'll be using 1 can of coconut milk, and it's a little bit chilly in my place, so the coconut has all solidified. So what I did there is that I just just put the whole can in warm water so that it will all melt down into liquid, so that we can work with it a little bit better. I'll be topping it with some sesame oil, so that's why I have it here. And last up, I have about 3 or 4 tablespoons of green curry paste. Now, I would recommend you get this curry paste in your local Asian grocery store. They might be harder to come by in Loblaws or Walmart. I have been able to find them there. It's just sometimes you just might have a harder time. This paste does pack quite a bit of heat. So just be prepared, and if you already have, curry paste sitting in your home, you can use that too. I just have here green curry paste, and I just have a little bit of vegetable oil here, the one that I used before to fry my tofu. So I'm just gonna set it aside so that I can cook with that. Perfect. So let's get started. First up, I have a pan here. It's greased from frying the tofu. I'm just gonna turn my heat to about medium high, so maybe like 6.5 out of 9 here. And while I'm waiting for that to heat up, I will just toss in the onion. Now, lots of people will obviously cook the onion and the garlic together. I don't like to do that because I do like my onion to be quite caramelized or just quite cooked down, and if you leave garlic in the heat for that long, it will burn. So I will start with my onion first, and I would just put in maybe, again, like this is just all eyeballing, right? Just maybe around 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil just to cover the pan, and I want to wait for that to heat up. Now so while we're waiting for that, now a few tips with the garlic. Try to mince them as small as you can, because that will help the garlic release all of its flavor and aroma as it's being cooked in the oil. The onion, not so much, because they do cook down and soften quite well. Yep, I can hear that sizzling already. I'm just gonna turn up the heat a little bit more. And then, of course, in my rice cooker, I'm actually making brown rice. just because it has a much higher fiber content than normal white rice, which I went through last week, is a lot better for your blood sugar. So we're gonna wait for that to cook down. So not sure how everyone's week is going. I sure have a really long week, and I'm just really looking forward to the weekend right now. I hope you all have had a great week, relaxing but also productive, which is what we like. And and thank you, Nat, about the presentation. I just thought that it might be a little bit too nerdy, but I'm glad that you guys enjoyed the information that was being given. Oh, that would be great. And I mean, I'm a firm believer of curry. Like I eat curry every chance I get. So there's that. So as you can see, I'm just gonna turn my camera around here. So the onion is cooking very nicely. All the fumes is coming up, and it smells amazing in here already. Thank you. The apron is actually it's science, so it has all the different science thing that goes on here. You have robots, and I think molecules, and you have a water bear on it as well. Very cute. Alright, so after about I guess 2 minutes into cooking, and you can start smelling the onion already, I'm gonna add in the garlic. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna empty this into the pan. You know how garlic is. It's very sticky. So I'm just gonna toss the garlic in. And just saute this for maybe another 2 to 3 minutes to get the garlic all fragrant. And as I said, you know, if you had tossed in the garlic right in the beginning, it would have burned by now. So I would usually cook the garlic after. So, yep, as I'm starting to smell the garlic, I'm just gonna leave it here for a little longer. But while I'm waiting for that to do its thing, actually I'm gonna turn my heat down to 6.5 before I turn it to 8 just before, because it was taking a bit long to heat up. But I'm going to get my spoon and my curry paste to get ready. The reason that I would want, and this is I guess kind of like a secret in in my book when it comes to cooking curry, is that I would actually toast the curry paste in the oil with the onion and the garlic. And the reason for this is because, you know, a lot of the flavors and the aroma in the curry paste actually they're all oil soluble. So if you just, you know, put them in right at the end after you already have all the water in there, they're not going to release. So it's much better to toast the curry paste in oil, in hot oil, so that they can release all of their flavors before we do anything else. So just to show you what the garlic and the onion is looking like right now. So here it is. So as you can see, there we go. So it's all kind of like not too burnt, but really nice and brown and really fragrant. And I already turned my heat down to just halfway through, so only medium heat now, because you don't want to burn the curry paste. That would be very bad. So I'm just gonna drop it all in. So let me show you here. So the curry paste is in, so I'm just going to dissipate it and spread it out onto the pan right here. And as you can see, as you start cooking it, it will start breaking down and mix really well with the onion and the garlic. And I can already smell the amazing paste being cooked. And again, this is the key. You want to cook it in a little bit of oil so that it will release all of that amazing flavor. So I'm just gonna add just a tad more oil so that it can, again, release more of its flavor out. So maybe another tablespoon of oil. And remember, medium heat only. You do not want to burn the curry paste, but you do want to give it, you know, decent amount of heat so that it will release all of that yummy goodness. So I'm going to do this maybe for another 30 seconds. And you should really, you know, smell all of that amazing aroma that is coming out from that curry. And, you know, this doesn't only apply to recipe with tofu. You can obviously toast your curry using any other dishes. And I just turn off the heat because I don't want it to cook too much. So now we're gonna start adding things. Oh, by the way, the reason why we want to fry our tofu is that then it will actually take out all of the water in the tofu, and that way the tofu can actually absorb a lot more flavors when you actually put them in the curry. So next up, I'm going to add the mushroom. So not sure everyone knows this already, but with mushroom, the amazing thing about mushroom is that you can't really overcook them. They're really hard to overcook because they have that really strong, I guess, I'm pretty sure they're keratin, but basically they have really strong cell structure, so that's great when you cook them, and it's great when you eat them as well, because then they stay inside your gut and really help in the same way that fiber would. So as you can see, and also the pan is quite full right now, but I can assure you the mushroom will cook down really nicely. Really nicely as we go along. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to turn the heat up to about medium-high as I cook down this mushroom. And again, try to stir consistently so that the mushroom doesn't stay in one place, or you know, any other ingredients stay in one place. You want things to get heat up but not burned. So try to stir them as much as you can. This is not a dish to leave alone. It's not a stew. It's more like a stir fry. So just make sure to do that. Oh, that's my rice being ready. I'm just waiting to bathe in this curry goodness. And what I'm looking for here when I'm cooking the mushroom is those really strong flavors coming out. Anyway, my point was, the way that I would know that, you know, the mushroom is good and cooked through is when you start seeing them shrivel and change color and darken a little bit. And also when they don't take up as much space up in the pan as when you first drop them in. That's a good sign as well. And you know, you want to make sure that you stir them around quite well so that all of the pieces of mushroom get the love they deserve. So, you know, for example, this piece right here, that's quite right. You know, they're still a little lonely there, so I'm just gonna toss it in the area of the sauce so that it can get a little bit more love. So we want the flavors all the way through. You don't want things being left out. And again, as we do this, the flavors and the aroma from the curry paste will continue to be released into the oil and into the mushroom. So this is going to be an amazing recipe by the end. And of course, if you don't have mushroom, you can always substitute it for other vegetables that you might have in your house. So things like broccoli or kale. Kale would go great as well. But you want to choose something a little bit more hearty, like you don't want to use spinach just because those will really just disappear inside the sauce. They won't survive this kind of heat or stir fry, but something a little bit more hearty like broccoli and kale would work really well as well. Yep, so we're just about done, so let me just show you what we're looking for here. So as you can see, the mushroom has cooked down quite a bit, and the color are also showing as well. Oh, I can see the comment now. I'm actually just using, oops, I don't know why it's not turning around. Here we go. I'm actually just using vegetable oil, but any kind of neutral oil would do. So again, just showing you here. We want them to cook down quite a bit, and the color hasn't been absorbed into the mushroom. Perfect. So let me go get my next ingredient. So I'm actually just gonna bring them all along here so that we don't have to shuffle back and forth. But next up, I'm just going to give our green peppers a quick stir fry so that they soften just a little bit. These don't need to be cooked down as much as the mushroom do. I'm just gonna turn the heat to around medium again. Give them a quick stir so that they're equally distributed around the pan. So again, they should look something like this. Okay? And now as they're being cooked down, or I guess being heated a little, I'm gonna get my coconut milk ready. There we go. And again, coconut milk is a key ingredient in a Thai curry, which is what I'm making right now. So I'm just gonna shake it up a little. I really don't like when you have like a solid blob of coconut milk separated from the rest of the liquid. So I just shake it really, really well. And then I'm gonna open that up. And again, its key tip is just to heat this up in a water bath so that you don't get that, awful separation. So here we go. The green peppers might just be cooking in there for maybe about a minute or two. Again, these you don't want them to cook down too much. You want still a little crunch in them as compared to the mushroom. Now, so let me just open up this can. So this recipe would usually, I think, serve about 3 or 4. Oh, there's a spot that wasn't open quite right here. Okay. I'm just gonna pop that right in. So we will use the whole can. So I don't know if you can tell, but the sizzling kind of stopped because we pop in the the coconut milk already. But as I pop in the coconut milk, I'm just gonna turn the heat up to about 6 or 7 out of 9 or 10. So, and as you can see here, the beautiful green curry is now infusing the coconut milk with this color. Now, as the coconut milk and the curry heats up, I'm going to pop the fried tofu right in. And this way, two things will happen. First of all is that the tofu will have more time to absorb all of that amazing curry flavor. And secondly, it will heat up at the same time as the curry, so you don't end up with curry with cold tofu inside it. So here you go. I'm just gonna give it a good stir to evenly distribute everything. And yes, it does smell very good. But yeah, so make sure if you don't want your room or closet to smell like curry, remember to close the door beforehand, because this will be very fragrant. Yep, but I'm just gonna mix it right up and wait for the coconut milk. I'm getting hungry too. I haven't had lunch yet. But we're just gonna wait for the coconut milk to cook right through. And while it's doing that, I'm gonna give it a quick taste. Because I can never get this right, but sometimes the paste itself isn't quite as salty as I want it to be. So I'm just gonna give it a quick taste as it's being cooked up. Yep, that's very good. So the only thing that I want to do here is just to add maybe about a teaspoon of sugar. If you don't like sugar, and obviously this is a diabetic friendly, or we're trying to work on our diabetes, what we would do if you don't have sugar or you don't like to use sugar is that you can use maybe a teaspoon of honey or maybe a teaspoon of your sugar substitute. That would work as well. But basically around a teaspoon of sugar, just to temper the heat of the curry a little bit. And let me just show you. It's looking quite nice right about now. So there we go. And make sure that the sugar is well mixed in there, or sugar substitute or honey. We just want something sweet to just slightly temper the heat of the curry. And one thing that you may notice is that as you continue to cook this curry is that it's going to get slightly thicker as you cook it, and that's what you want. So I'm just going to quickly go check on the rice to make sure that it's... Oh, I have to release the heat. Great. And I think this is about done, so I'm just going to turn off the heat and let it finish cooking on the stove. While I... And yes, of course this can be frozen. The amazing things about this recipe in particular is that we use really hearty vegetables and ingredients, so things like mushroom and green peppers and tofu. All of these things can be frozen, so it won't break down when you freeze them. So you can definitely freeze your curry. And the thing about curry as well is that, you know, the more you keep it, the better it tastes. I don't know why. I think the more you keep it, the flavor just permeates a lot better into the ingredients. But that's what I found. So now that the curry is finished cooking, the rice is looking good. I'm just gonna get it out onto my bowl. And as I said at the beginning, this recipe usually makes about 3 or 4 servings depending on how much you're eating. So this would be good for maybe 2 or 3 meals in my household. So I have my rice in here. I'm just gonna scoop some of that curry goodness into my bowl. And of course, at least this curry paste that I use does carry a lot of heat. So can uncooked tofu be frozen? I wouldn't recommend that, just because when you haven't cooked the tofu, it's actually quite fragile, even if it's frozen. Even if it's a firm tofu, it would still be quite fragile. And if you freeze them, the thing about uncooked tofu is that it has a lot of water in it. And if you freeze it, the water crystals that will form inside the tofu will actually just break it completely down into mush. So I would recommend, if you want to store tofu frozen, I would fry them first, because then all of the water will have been removed from from the tofu, and it would help the tofu stay fresh a little bit longer, rather than freezing uncooked tofu, which has a lot of water. Because the thing that ruins the food when you freeze them is usually the water inside them. So if you find some ways to remove the water, then that would be great. And yeah, I was saying before, this curry paste does carry a lot of heat inside it. So pick your battles, pick the curry paste that you have tried before, just to make sure that's not too spicy for you. So here we go. We have a beautiful bowl of green curry, tofu curry. And so what I would do at the very end, because I showed you sesame oil just before, so we don't really cook with sesame oil. Sometimes you can. It's just at least in Canada, sesame oil can get really expensive if you cook with them. So what I do really is just to sprinkle this on the very top to get that really amazing sesame scent on my dish. So I'll just show you. So here I'm just gonna do maybe around 1 teaspoon of sesame oil on the very top as a topping. Just like how you would, I guess, dress a salad or something. There we go. So here is the finished product. Our beautiful bowl of tofu curry. And I hope this recipe really, my hope here is that it has kind of helped familiarize tofu with you. Because a lot of people don't, I guess, if you didn't grow up in an Asian household, you might not be as familiar with tofu and how you might cook it. So this is one way you can cook it. You can fry it. If you have an air fryer and you don't want to use oil, that is even better. And once you fry it, the tofu would be ready to just take up whatever flavor you throw at it. So in this case, we have curry. You can use it in a stir fry. That would work. You can put it in a soup, and you will find that it's actually quite nice there as well. So that concludes this week live session with me, Benjamin. And I hope everyone has a great weekend coming up. And I can't wait to see you guys next week on Friday. Bye, guys.